Although Belisarius isn't the flashiest epic, nor is he the first that you should invest in, he is one of the strongest that holds weight well throughout the game and continues to be a valuable investment in Rise of Kingdoms. In this detailed commander guide with talents, we'll give you everything you need to know to capture more arcs, battle more barbarians, and slay your enemies in the open field. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming and we've been remastering our epic commander guides for you to give you the latest, greatest information about these commanders because yeah, my old guides are very popular but a little bit dated. So if you like the information contained in this guide, do me a favor, throw a like on the video so I know, yes, it is worth my making more epic commander guides. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, consider smashing that subscribe button. We've got guides for every commander, and this remastery series has been a lot of fun to make. Belisarius has had unreal longevity in Rise of Kingdoms, and a part of that is because he is a peacekeeper, which means you'll use him every single day that you're battling barbarians, and due to his third skill giving a huge march speed boost whenever he leaves combat, he is a premier carrier for the Ark of Osiris to this day. And although we have lots of options for legendary commanders, if I were carrying the Ark of Osiris, Belisarius is one of the first commanders I would be turning to bring to that temple, to bring home the glory. So what we're going to do in this guide is give you a review of these skills so you really understand how to deploy this commander effectively. We'll give you talent builds for 3 different situations that I think he is most impactful for as a commander. And last but not least, we're going to review the pairings in 2020 that we believe to be most effective for now and well beyond 2020. If you want to jump to any portion of this video that you're most interested in, you can use the timestamps in the description to go wherever you're interested. Let's start with these skills, because as I mentioned, Belisarius is not particularly flashy. He doesn't do a lot of damage. In fact, his active skill only does 450 damage factor. For an epic, that is extremely poor. However, he does do a solid 30% attack and defense reduction. And what most people don't know of this active skill that is very interesting is that he actually delays the damage by a turn for that 450 damage factor. So he's going to do the debuffs onto the target when he uses his active skill, and on the next turn, he's going to do his damage factor. This, of course, is a good thing because he will have reduced the defense of the target for that damage, so it will be slightly elevated from what you see. Now, the next skill is another reason he's got a lot of longevity in the game. That is the 35% damage to barbarians. Look, he's a peacekeeper. He's meant for battling barbs, and you're going to use peacekeeping talents every single time you battle barbs. So yes, he is very strong for that, and I use him for that literally every day. The next skill, as I was describing, gives an astonishing 30% defense. That's a lot of defense from a single skill on a commander. So yeah, Belly dropping a cool 30 defense here is noteworthy. In addition, when you leave combat, that 50% march speed boost is massive. Whether you're battling barbarians, killing farmers in the Mightiest Governor, or in KVK from the opposing kingdoms, or stealing that Ark of Osiris for glory. This skill really does deliver. In fact, I insist, please let me show you this short clip of a Belisarius breakaway that literally is the game maker for Ark of Osiris League playoffs in the Sweet 16. This literally just happened prior to the recording of this video. Yeah, let me roll the footage. Oh my goodness. Blue gets the Ark again. Puffin stuff the carrier. A clean breakaway will do the job. This looks like the clean breakaway they might have needed. Oh man, this carry. This carry is looking good. Belisarius the carrier. How long is the carry? 2 minutes and 36 seconds. They've got time. Random Gaming, thanks for the 25 PHP super chat. I appreciate you. Charge talent's about to be activated. 1 minute and 54 seconds on the carry. Charge talents did activate, now down to 123. Wow! Belisarius leaving combat, getting a march speed boost. This is a breakaway. Ark carrier breakaway. They've got enough time to cap this thing. Oh, man. This could happen. This could happen. Denmark CV, thanks for subscribing. Welcome to the Smash Squad. That Belisarius has wings. 1 minute and 15 seconds. Oh my goodness. It was exactly as I described. It was exactly as I described, that there was just enough time left to make this happen. This was why 64PL might have been holding on to that Ark in the back line to prevent having another opportunity to score. Oh man. Salih Sahin, thanks for subscribing. Welcome to the Smash Squad. I appreciate you. Puffin stuff. Ark carrier Belisarius double C working on the carrier. 14,000 damage. Nice big hit there. Woo! There's another 12,000 and a couple 5,000 procs. Mystical formation activated. Now's the time. Now is the time. Carrier crawling to the structure. I think they're going to capture this thing with 1 minute and 24 seconds remaining. Crucial Ark capture for 80 VS. Do you see what I mean? Does that not make you want to start using Belisarius like today? I probably should have put this at the start of the video. I mean, that carry was amazing. Not once, but twice. That carrier gets harassed a little bit. Boom, leaves combat. Boom, they're gone. Gone. Yeah, that was, I mean, Belly. All right, let's keep reviewing. Let's keep reviewing the skills, people. The fourth skill makes it so that troops led by Belisarius deal 25% increased damage, so a massive damage boost, when the target is weak, when they're below 50% of troops remaining. This is a big deal. You can focus down weaker targets with your Belisarius and get a massive boost in damage. 25% is a very, very meaningful amount of damage boost. Do not underestimate this. The expertise skill is what's making the third skill so powerful. Without the expertise, it is only 15% defense, but dude, 30% of stats and the march speed boost. It's just very, very good. Now, these all have really strong implications for your talents. The talents that you're going to use on Belisarius vary profoundly based on what you're doing with this commander. If you're using them like I am, I think this is a very exceptional build for going around and battling barbarians. I use them with Trophy Hunter because I'm battling barbs in the field, not using them to rally forts. I don't think this commander is particularly good at rallying forts, in large part because of the mobility tree lacking real offensive punch. Yeah, you can get to the barb fort faster, but that's not exactly what I'm looking for, and at the end of the day, you might find yourself either wasting a lot of points in this peacekeeping tree, or I suppose if you needed to, you could use a Belisarius to rally forts, and I've got a full guide on which commanders are best for rallying forts card up in the top if you want to see that video. If you were building this incrementally, I would start by getting Insight and then Quick Study for battling barbarians, and if you want to get to that value right away, Trophy Hunter is a really easy pickup. If what you want is efficiency in battling barbarians and getting them down fast, then I would go all the way to Undying Fury to get that extra rage gen. It's actually a very, very meaningful amount of rage gen, so those are one of the very first things I would try to pick up. From there, make your way to Curing Chant for survivability and longevity of your march, and then you can go up to Disarm. The final points you would do are on your way to Lightning Charge. We did have 1 point left over that we used on Cavalry Health. The next build I want to review for you is an open field build. Now, I don't think this commander is particularly well suited to open field, because as I said, they do a lot of debuffs, but I'd rather do a lot of damage, like get in, get out, and have done a lot of damage. With that said, the reason they're still pretty solid if you're managing one march in the field is this right here, Hasty Departure. When you leave a structure, oh my gosh, you are going to get a cool 60% extra march speed for 10 seconds. That's a flag, fort, resource node, or city, all of it, baby. Pass, all those things count as structures. So I would go all the way to the top of that cavalry tree, definitely go and get Undying Fury for the additional rage restoration, get that Hasty Departure for being able to move around really fast, And the last points I went in to get the march speed in the upper right-hand side of the mobility tree. Now, if you're starting at a low level and powering him up and you need to fight in the field right away, I would make the argument that Hasty Departure is your first pickup, followed by Undying Fury in the cavalry tree, then Rallying Cry, then make your way to this extra march speed. After, I suppose, you pick up a couple points over here. Really, you could do that at any point where you feel like, man, I need a few more points in a march speed. You can grab those. The final build that I have for you on the topic of march speed is this one right here. This is the fastest build in the game. The literal, actual fastest mobility tree build in the game. You can't squeeze more march speed onto a commander. And I actually have a full guide on how to get the absolute most march speed possible on a commander. Card up in the top if you'd like to see that video once we finish this one. So the thing that I dislike about this build is that when you're in combat, you will go slower, but when you're out of combat, you will go faster, which is good. So between this maximum speed build and the open field build, I do think that the open field build is a better choice for running around taking out gatherers in the Mightiest Governor. But if you're going to run the Ark of Osiris, this is a pretty solid build. An argument could be made, however, that you might want to ditch these points over here in time management if you're going to assume that people are going to focus you down while you carry the Ark and that you're not going to have a clean breakaway. Then you could start to reallocate some of the points that are here and move them elsewhere. But I do like the sort of slipperiness contained within the top of this mobility tree, making it so you can resist slow effects and maneuver your way out of combat more easily for that 50% march speed boost for 10 seconds. Now, this is a commander you can unlock from gold keys, very easy to obtain. And when you think about how you want to skill up this commander, there's really two directions you could go. In either direction, you're going to max the first skill. If you're using them for battling barbarians, I would max the first two skills before taking them up to 4 stars. And if you're using him primarily for running around in the open field, then I would max the first skill, take him to 4 stars, and then apply additional skills, hoping they don't land on the barbarian-related skill. But honestly, with all epics, you're going to expertise them all. It's only a matter of time, and not even like that much time. You'll get there. It might feel like a long time, but it's a matter of months, not years, before you'll max out all your epics. The pairings for Belisarius are definitely interesting because he's giving this cool 30% defense to cavalry, especially if you're using him as a primary and he has so many points in the cavalry tree. My recommendation is going to be that you use a full cavalry march. That doesn't mean you can't use other commanders that aren't cavalry commanders. However, you're going to want to lean towards those types of marches. So there are less pairings than I would normally recommend. One such non-cavalry secondary would be a Joan of Arc. If you're trying to navigate your way around the field quickly and do some debuffs and also a bunch of buffs, the Belisarius Joan of Arc combo is actually pretty solid for escaping combat when things go south and people start to focus you down, which they will if you bring a Joan of Arc. I also really like Boudica as a pairing. Belisarius doesn't have a way to generate rage. Boudica not only gives him a way to generate rage, she's also giving him a way to heal. Boudica's secondary is the way I would run that. She's also reducing the rage and attack of the enemy for 2 seconds. The way that the active skills sync up, these should not overlap, so you should get the full duration of both of their debuffs, which is very nice. So I think this is a solid combination, and I would recommend that you pair them up and enjoy the value that you get. Now, if we move more in the direction of strict cavalry pairings, Pelagius is a great epic to pair with. This is like your Boudica in that you're getting a lot of health restoration here. You're getting a lot of extra rage generation. But the big benefit of Pelagius is the cavalry stats. That's where you're kind of really going all in on the cavalry unit, and it makes a lot of sense to pair them together. In fact, he's even giving more rage than Boudica is, but not doing as many debuffs as she was. The next commander pairing is arguably the very best. It's the Baibars pairing. This is the best for running around in the Mightiest Governor, killing farmers. That's like the thing you do. You use these two together. When Baibars leaves combat, you're going to get a cool 50% march speed for 10 seconds. So between the two of them, that is 100% extra march speed when they leave combat. I mean, it's It's really nuts. It's really nuts. Now that's good, again, for taking out farmers during the Mightiest Governor or KVK, but also for carrying that Ark of Osiris. You can have some insane breakaways with the Ark of Osiris with a 10-second 100% march speed boost, and that is such a profound amount of advantage that even though these are epic commanders, at the very top tier of play for Ark of Osiris, carriers use this pairing and get sick value, moving the Ark very, very far. You could use these two paired together for battling Barbarians if you're using only one march, but if you're bringing multiple marches, you're not going to want to pair these two together because they are going to go so fast to the next Barb that they are going to leave every other march in the dust. The final pairing I want to look at for Belisarius is going to be Osman. Now, Osman is an interesting one. He really wanted a rage engine. Belisarius doesn't have it. I suppose you could pair them together if you're running around and killing gatherers for Mightiest Governor. That is a reasonable choice. You're going to do more damage but be less mobile, and that might be perfectly fine. The real cornerstone for Osman is this third skill, doing 400 damage factor every time an active skill is used. That's both the primary commander and secondary commander using their active skill. So you're going to miss out on that if you do pair them together, which is in part why on the Belisarius, I insist that you take that rage talent in the upper left portion of the tree. Now at the legendary tier, there are of course a lot of really great pairings. We'll breeze through these. Double C is a phenomenal pair. Either one of them could be the primary because they've both got the exact same trees, so you may as well run a Belisarius primary. The reason that I prefer that is that it's easier to level up epics, but also the double C has a 40% attack reduction, and I don't think those effects are going to stack. So if you use the Belisarius primary followed by the CC secondary, you won't have one buff, or rather debuff, overriding the other, and you'll get a full 4 to 5, I guess in this case 5 seconds of debuffing, which seems really quite good. Minamoto is another really great pair. If you're trying to do damage, then Minamoto should be the primary. If you're trying to be mobile, then Belly should be the primary. Cruising through our cavalry commanders, I do like the Saladin pair. It's going to make them very maneuverable when they're getting out of combat. I prefer Saladin as the primary for the support tree. Support tree also has the hasty departure from the mobility tree, which is really quite good. So Saladin can do the same thing as a primary as you get from the Belisarius with that 60% extra march speed for 10 seconds. So I like the Saladin primary, Belly secondary, for a more maneuverable, open field march that's trying to harass vulnerable targets that are either behind the lines or that are trying to farm in a Mightiest Governor. Khan is also a solid choice. I like the Khan primary for firing out the active skills as fast as possible. This will make it so that if you do get out of combat with your Khan, you can at least get away from the combat due to the 50% extra march speed from your Belisarius. Khan is going to reduce the rage requirement of the active skill a good bit. I like him as the primary for that reason, but also for the skill tree. And because Belisarius has some really solid debuffs, you're going to be able to apply those a lot more frequently when you have a Khan primary. I do not think that Attila is a particularly good pair. I suppose you could do it and it wouldn't be the worst. It actually really wouldn't be the worst. It gives Attila a really great way to break from a combat. It also, like, look, you're not doing that much skill damage anyways with your Belisarius. It's an interesting idea. I wonder just how much the attack reduction, however, stacks up between the two of them. I would probably stay away from this pairing. It's a thing you could do, but I don't know. I'm really not convinced. Pairings like Freddy and Caesar generally don't excite me. I think they're kind of slow moving and clunky in the open field. You could do it with a Belisarius primary. I think that would be fine, but I'm not excited about them like I am with the other cavalry commander choices. Now, if you're way into the late game, William is a commander that would become available. I think they're a decent pairing together. I think I prefer the William primary because I think the attack tree is better for just kind of brawling in the field, but you could use a Belly primary for the mobility, and that would be very, very reasonable. The final cavalry commander that I wanted to talk about was going to be Takeda. Takeda is a really interesting pair with Belisarius. You get a ton of survivability from the Takeda. The downside here is that there's no rage engine to power out the Gentle as the Forest ability, which is going to give you healing factor every time active skills are used. So I think that you will enjoy a lot of stats and tankiness from the Takeda as well as sustain. I think that they're a pretty interesting pair for running around in a Mightiest Governor. Do I think it's the strongest thing you could use to go toe-to-toe against somebody? No, probably not. And Takeda generally, I would say, is best suited to be a secondary to either Saladin or most optimally, obviously, your Attila. I suppose there's one last legendary we really should talk about, and that is Mulan. You could pair them together and use all cavalry. In some ways, neither of them really wants to be the primary commander. Mulan, certainly due to one of her skills, giving you some benefit for being the secondary commander over here. You'd want to use the Belisarius between the two of them, but the Belisarius doesn't have the rage engine that Mulan wants, and using her as primary is non-optimal. I think they're an okay pairing, but not particularly natural, and you probably could find better. All in all, Belisarius has held very, very well over time in Rise of Kingdoms. And when it comes to equipment on this guy, I would try to go with the full complement of the Windswept set. Get that maximum march speed bonus. Belisarius is here for the speed. So run around real fast, take advantage of the fact that he can do that. This really is a sort of not quite unique. I mean, Bibar's got the same thing, but very powerful ability in the right context. And look, top-end players are still using it to this very day. You probably should be too. If you found this guide helpful, do me that favor and leave a like on the video so I know that I should continue to make remastery of Epic Commander guides. And if you're looking for more guides about either Epic Commanders or simply a remastering of some of the legendary Commander guides for commanders that we reviewed a very long time ago, I'll have my Ultimate 2020 Commander Guides playlist up top. You can check that out, and hopefully you find another commander that you wanted to go learn something about and try out. Consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss a thing, and until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom, and let me know down below in the comments which commander you'd like to see a guide for next.